Hey everyone, this is it might be humorous, but it's the truth though. Uh, I've had two 8-year marriages. I've always been, since I was 21, I've been married my whole life, except for now it's been 3 years. So, being single for me was very hard to get used to, especially because I deal with the depression and stuff. It's just easier to have someone to be with you in life. And it took God a few years to teach me, quit looking. I remember after my second divorce with my youngest kids, I thought everybody God had sent for me to marry. See, we cannot look but think every person God is sending, because we want it so bad, because we're lonely. And I know a lot of people have learned the same lesson. I had I don't know, it's probably been 2.5 years ago. I had a certain person who claimed to be a Christian. And I don't know if she was or wasn't. I think she probably was. But I wanted it so bad that I married her. It lasted 8 months. Just in case people know, I'm not going to talk nothing about it, but it was not meant to be. But it was a lesson learned, because it broke my heart again. And I don't take that very well. And he kept, even before then, he said, quit looking. I'm going to send the one. Well, I was praying for that, right? I was praying for him to send the one. Problem is, I thought everybody was the one I talked to. If they was a Christian and they was pretty, they the one. That's not really, that's kind of looking still, really. It is. And I was talking to somebody about this the other night, I forgot who. But basically, I've gotten pretty good at it, because I haven't been on a date really in about 2 years. And the main thing I quit doing is reaching out and contacting people and flirting, and innocent, but and I have more peace because I'm not looking. I'm learning to be happy. I needed this time by myself to learn how to live for God by myself, and learn I can be happy by myself. For me to be without a wife was unthinkable. The way I'm made, I took pride in being a husband, and I done my best to be what I needed to be for my family. And it's easier when you have it made, if they're sent by God, or you're both serving God. But the problem is, 2 8-year marriages, 2 divorces, and then I had an 8-month marriage. It was not God. It taught me a lesson. You just can't be with who you want to be with. Divorce rates are too high. And the thing is, in the last few months, the Lord's really been showing me, I could have been with somebody. And I take that back. He wouldn't let me. Everything after my third marriage, everybody, it's just nothing. I thought, what is wrong with me? It's God shutting doors. He's trying to tell me to quit looking. He's protecting me from myself. God forbid I had another 5-year, 8-year marriage and divorce again. People don't take marriage serious today. Even Christian people. Divorce is not an option for Christians. If you're born again and you're saved, both people now, I'm not talking about it, you both got to be saved, even if, and it's happened to me 3 times, 3 different wives cheated on me. I took my first one back. She done it again. She didn't come back. I begged and cried and begged, and she didn't come back. Second one, same thing. She didn't come back. Third one, same thing. She didn't come back. Thank God the Lord didn't allow them to play with my head. Because I know people that's been 2, 3, 4 years, because the men or the women will play with you because they're not really saved, or they really don't have a heart for hurting people. When you love someone and you think they're your future, that is devastating, because you don't know where it come from, how it happened. But I just wanted, the Lord is not letting me look, and now that I'm doing pretty good at it, I talk to people that's friends, but I don't feel no connection. You know, you got to have chemistry. There's going to be something that I notice. So basically, I'm like, okay, I can't look. I don't go nowhere. I don't see nobody that much unless I'm going to the store. So that means they're just going to fall from the sky. That's what I'm thinking. But you know, the Lord is I can do anything in His timing. In His timing, when the time is right, He's a miracle working God. But in myself, I'm telling you, I never would have thought out of 5 years, or maybe 6 now, that I would have had an 8-month marriage and be single the rest of the time. And the thing is, there is a certain one for single people, for you ones that's single. There is someone. But you got to get to the place to this. This is where He's wanted me to come to. Whether you sin one or not, you're still worthy. You're still my happiness. See, I had to ask forgiveness my second wife when she left. Immediately, the Lord said she was an idol. I went to her for comfort. I loved God, but that was what I'd done. I looked to her for too much. I had the relationship with God, but still, I put all my hope and my happiness in her. And I had to ask God to forgive me, because she was an idol in my life. And the thing about this, when you learn that you can be happy single, because what I go through, what we all go through in a trial, whatever the trial, there's no man or woman can make it better for you. You're going to go through that trial, and only God can touch your heart and lift you up. A woman or a man can't do that. And when you've been single for a little while and you've learned, I can be happy either way. There's times where I'm lonely, but I've realized something. What I go through, I'm going to go through with or without a wife. She can't fix me. Only God can fix me. See, the thing is, I've learned that through being single all these years. I've realized I would have more to do, somebody to do something with. Y'all know, it's just when you have the right one, though. But as far as what I go through in the trials of my life, the mental stuff I go through, there is nobody that can touch me and help me but God Himself. He's the only one. And before I didn't realize this. There's a reason why you can't connect with someone. You just can't. For some reason, before I could, but not this time. There's no chemistry. Something happens always. And I learned that. And then finally I gave up. I said, Lord, because He kept telling me to quit looking. But I'm not perfect. It's not easy. But out of all that, I hadn't been on a date in 2 years. The last person I went on a date with was my ex-wife. The 8-month marriage, this might have been 2.5 years. I had one date set up, about a year and 2 years ago, and I had anxiety when she was on the way. I had to call and tell her I wasn't going. I couldn't go, and it's just the Lord. See, if He wasn't saving me from myself, I'd already be with someone and be married to the wrong person. We understand something. There is God will, and it's His will that you be with the one He chooses. And now, I know that some people, like my first wife, we was both not saved. But I'm talking about in a position like I'm in, or you're in, you're going to want to be with the one, if you are single, that God sends. And He is that big. He's plenty big enough to do that. But that means patiently waiting. And it's not easy. And I haven't been perfect at it. God has saved me from myself. Because I'm the kind of person, when I think something's God, we get married. Well, if it's God, right? But see, the thing is, this time He ain't letting me connect with no one. The connection's not there. Either I'm just unattracted to them, or either I am attracted to them, but they have no relationship with God. None. If you ain't got a relationship with God, I'm not being rude, but that's unequally yoked to me. The Lord let me know you're going to be with someone it's going to build you together to me closer. And I don't understand why I see people that are saved that are all they care about is what they look like. See, with me, yeah, that's important. But there's been plenty of people I talked to when I realized they didn't have a relationship with God. That was it. It's done. And then if I'm not attracted to someone, I'm just not attracted to someone. But the thing is, that's got to be, and I don't understand how people can do that today and say they're saved. I guess if you got two people that are carnal and don't have a relationship with God too much, I guess they would work out, but they're going to get a divorce. I don't want to go through another. I'd rather stay single than go through another divorce. I'd rather be by myself than go through some more wasted years. We learned from our mistakes. I learned. I'm a different person than I was 5 years ago. I don't struggle with the same things I struggled with back then either. I'm a stronger person. But the thing is, I had to realize, and I don't know how long it's going to be, honestly. I can't tell nobody. I've come to the place where I said, Lord, whether I get married or not, you're in control. And I'm going to tell you, I'm free to marry. If I was not free to marry, I would not be even looking for a wife. See, I'm free to marry. They all left me and cheated on me. And I was a child of God. I was me. I was struggling with drinking the last 5 years, 3 of a marriage, but I was a child of God, fighting my butt off, and I felt like to leave me in a time like that, because she seen the tears, the crying, till it was abandoning me in my weakness. I felt betrayed, but it seemed when she left, I started getting better. I started drawing closer to God because of the pain. And it pretty much, I quit drinking is pretty much when she left. I've grown more. God, divorce is not God's will, but He will use every circumstance for our good if you're saved. And you must want Him to. You gotta want God to do this. God, if you don't desire change, then you're gonna just be the way you are. You gotta be desperate for Him. I've always been the type of person. I've always been desperate for God. Since the day I got saved, I had the yearning for more. I've always had that in me, and I think that should be in every Christian. There was times where I got complacent, but I wasn't happy because I felt in me that I was complacent. I didn't like that. And back then, I thought, I'm not praying enough. I didn't understand yet that it is the cross of Christ, keeping our faith in grace, and He keeps us. We don't keep ourselves. Back then, I wasn't but 23 or 4. I thought you could slip away. You're not going to slip away. If your faith is in Him and desperate for Him to be the one to do everything in your life, He will not allow that. But I'm not getting on all the preaching stuff. But the thing is, you don't never know. I do believe God's will is for a man and woman to be together. But the thing is, He's not going to send somebody to you that's going to hurt you. He's not going to do that. If you truly are waiting on Him, if you truly are waiting, He knows what you need. He knows what kind of person can put up with our personalities. There are people that are committed to marriage. But a lot of people today are, I give you the ladies, they're career minded. They don't want to be a wife. You have that problem. They are independent from their husband. And I'm old fashioned. I want to spend every time with my wife. But they had to have their girl time. See, I didn't grow up in a time like that. But there are so many people like that are Christians. But when I have met some people that was desperate for God, and they was not like that. They knew what they wanted. Your friends will cause you a divorce, ladies. Your friends will tell you to leave your husband, and they claim to be Christian, but they're going to tell you to leave your husband because of the way he's acting. It says in sickness and in health. If he is a child of God, you pray for your husband. I've taken women back that has cheated on me because I forgave them, and they repented is the main thing. If they ask forgiveness, we need to forgive them. But I didn't take into consideration that my first wife was probably not saved. Looking back now, because I'm not gonna get into her story, and then my second wife really just, I don't know what happened to her, but she never repented and never cared. And my third wife, she cheated too, but the thing about her, she left because she said it was too hard. Too hard to be a Christian. And that's just, y'all know how I am. I talk about God all the time. So I guess that's what I only know. That was me being desperate for someone and taking something in my own hands. But God used it for a lesson. But I know something that's true. It was the Lord's will, and it is God's will, that I be single until He sends someone. Because it's done something better in me. It's just me and God. It literally is just me and God. I don't hang out with friends. I go to work with my dad. And that's about it. What am I going to do? Go to the movies? I mean, I guess I could. I don't want to go to the movies. By myself, yeah. I've never been the kind of person to hang out with friends after I got saved. Not unless it was something to do with ministry, I guess. But I've never had friends. As a husband, I didn't have friends. My wife was my friend. I had acquaintances. We had family friends, married couple that might have been a friend. But that's just the way I am. So it's too easy today to find someone. And then you got this aspect of it that's come into play. They must understand the gospel. They got to. And y'all know what I'm talking about. If they don't understand the gospel and they're in false doctrine, and then that's been a big issue too. That's another issue. They got to understand the gospel, or they at least got to have a desire. And when desperate people, when they hear it, they're like, yeah, and it builds them up. It gives them encouragement. They immediately latch on to the truth. That's the way it was for all of us. Because our hearts were desperate for Him. It was the only thing that brought life to us was the gospel in right context. Knowing how to live for God. But I was trying to be funny about it, really. I guess that's a little testimony about where I'm at right now. But the thing is, it really got to the point to where the Lord wanted me to say, whether you ever send anybody, you're my happiness. You're my joy. And it took these times to say that and to really in my heart feel it. Even my children. I know it's my fault. I know this test that I have to take, it goes back up to 12 months. So in 2 years, if you mess up 3 times, you're 2 years. And now, it's been a year. But the thing is, even that, it come to a place to where I said, Lord, because I knew they was connected to this. And I knew that I was doing my very best. And I lived right. I would just fall every 4 to 8 months. Start me all the way over. And I realized something. I'm not in control. God's going to deliver me, but I can't say when. But that ain't what I was looking forward to, the deliverance. I had a relationship with Him that went beyond my failure because I hated it. But I realized something. The pain of not seeing my children, the only peace that I got was to give them to Him. To say, I said, Lord, whether I ever see them again or not, I put them in your hands and I released my children to God. Now I have a court date November the 4th. Now the test is passed. But I first had to come to a place where there was another idol. We go through a mourning. It hurt. But what the Lord is expecting of me is nothing to come before Him. Nothing. Because I can be happy, and I was happy. I had done decided, for one reason, I didn't want to deal with this family. I didn't want to deal with them. And then another reason was I didn't know when. It was too much. I had to give it to God. I had peace about the fact that in my mind, I said, I'll see them when they get older. And for me to say that about my children is a change because they are what's most important to me. Matter of fact, they came before God. And every parent can understand how easy that is and how it is most of the time. But God won't even allow that in my life. So the only peace I could get was to give them to Him and say, your will be done. Whatever it is, your will be done, Lord. Whatever it is. Because I realize my life is in your hands. I don't say what happens and what goes. You do. I learned that. But see, God is a God of restoration. He restores. And when He fixes you and takes things from you, He's going to restore something better to you. It'll be better than before, but the trials produce something in us that change, but then He builds the house. See, He's building me. So whatever trial it is, it's going to bring true change in your heart, put things into perspective, and it could be a season. It could last longer than you think. I never thought it would last 2 years with my children having to see him at that place. So, I got very good news about all that. I'm just not going to say it right now. I did attain a lawyer. The Lord get amazing miracle, a very good one. We've already contacted her lawyer, let her know that we're going to file contempt if she don't let me see the kid at the kid center, because she's not letting me do that. So even far as things that I want to put in the order that I want that I didn't have before. But God is doing this. But I had to wait for the perfect time. I didn't know this man. It's a man we paint for, but I didn't know him up till 6 months ago. And he just, at the right time, and the Lord put him in my mind, a barter deal. And he was excited about that, and it's amazing. He's an older gentleman. He's been doing it for I don't know how long. And I just know God's will is going to be. I've done learned something. Don't never think it's always going to be a bed of roses. Because we go through trials. Whether we open the door up or whether he does. Either way, it don't matter. It's still a trial when you're going through it. So don't think it's always going to be happy, happy, happy. I came to the place where I actually said I had to release my children to God. You know, and back used to, I would say, no, they're going to be back because I thought God worked that way. God, we go through pain that's bigger than us, that stretches our faith. He uses it for our good. How many times have we heard of a person losing a child and it drawing them closer to God? Thank God that didn't happen. So I've learned, I know one thing for sure. I went a little crazy there for a few days when she wouldn't let me see him at the kids center. But I learned something. I know this, what God told me. I do know, I really feel in my heart, that day, November the 4th, that week I'll see my children. But here's the deal. Here's what brings me peace. I know for a fact that his will be done. I do know that. And I have peace with that. I know for a fact that his will be done. Period. I know that. But I could never be where I'm at today. I could never be at peace with that. I couldn't accept that. But I've learned and grown through these years of deep trial and pain to understand my happiness is in him. He's going to do what's best for me and my children. I would worry about them. But I put them in God. He can protect them way more than I can. But see, God is a God of restoration. When he gets our hearts all on him, he'll start giving back in the right timing. And better. Because your heart, now you're different. You're changed. And you're ready to really appreciate the blessing. And you will not have put it before the Lord. I guess it turned into a testimony. But God, the thing about it is waiting on God. I think a lot of the problem is, and I've done it too, I can't say nothing, we have married out of loneliness. And that is not the reason to marry. And I have learned that no one can make me happy but God. So, therefore, whenever the Lord does send someone, I am a better man for it. And I can actually be more of a husband that I need to be. If he does send someone. But it's going to, if he don't, I will not be married again. And that's just one thing about it. Because I didn't realize I can't connect anyways with people. And so I done learned that it's not going to be, he's protecting me. Because I should have been married by now again, but I'm not. It's got to be a connection from God. And with the way I am, y'all know how I am about the gospel. If someone's against that, that means they're against my faith. They're against my faith. They're against the gospel. There is no way I'm going to unite myself with someone like that. Now, I know they might be, I know they'd be saved, but they'd be very deceived. And there is no way. The gospel, the truth of the gospel, is my number one priority. There is no way. They don't know, but they're an enemy of the cross. It's dangerous. So, there's no way I would be with someone who is prideful, arrogant, and thinks they know it all and is in self-righteousness. No way. That's another thing you got to think about. But God is faithful. God is faithful. No matter what. I've learned to live by myself, with just me and God. And it's been some great times in the Lord. Just me and the Lord. I know now to always, no matter what, you have time for God every day. That's a priority. So I will know. It won't be hard for me to get away and get along with God every day. Because I got to have that. And there's no wife going to come before that. And if she's a true woman of God, she would understand and appreciate that. But God bless you all. This turned into a testimony. I was trying to be funny about it, but I guess it ain't too funny. Y'all have a great afternoon.